Hey Doc, give me a quick scale on a 1 to 5. How confidently are you in making data-driven decisions for your practice, 5 being the highest? If you're anything less than a 4, I am here to help you gain that certainty of a 5 as quickly as we can. If you're anything less than a 5, it's not your fault. You went to school to become a doctor. And I get it. You love patient care, and there's nothing better than helping patients move in pain to out of pain and transition into a lifestyle of health and wellness that you've always wanted to deliver. But what if there was a way that you could actually grow your practice without sacrificing patient care? In fact, actually make the whole patient experience even better. Here's the reality. If you can't confidently make data-driven decisions in your practice, you would be shocked at how much money and revenue opportunities are leaking through your practice. When we do our cash flow blueprint for docs, they are shocked at how much cash flow is slipping through the cracks. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 specific data-driven points that if you can focus on, you will crush your data-driven decision-making and scale your practice. Let's go. One of the most amazing things about building the data-driven practice and Blue IQ is the amount of data that we now have streaming in from thousands of practices. The data tells the story, and we can see it across our industry, that so many of your clinics are literally letting thousands of dollars slip through the cracks every week. In fact, the average practice, depending on its size, is somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a week. I want to help you with these 3 data-driven points that will change everything for you. And the first one is what we call net new patients. It's called net because it's a calculation of numbers of the new patients coming in, and then it's taking in effect the number of patients that are slipping through the proverbial back door. That means patients that are going inactive. We spend so much money on marketing to bring in patients in the front door, but we forget that it's 4 times easier to reactivate a patient than go after new ones. There's so many incredible ways to reactivate these patients, but Blue IQ tracks those patients through a period of time. And at 12 months, if they have not come back into the practice and they don't have a next appointment, we see a tremendous decrease in the likelihood of that patient coming back to your practice. So we track this for you, and we use this formula to give us what's called that net new patient number. As we calculate this, look at this example from this practice. They had 75 new patient exams. That's not leads, that's actually new patient exams come in the front door. But you can see here the software picked up 106 patients literally going inactive that very same month, giving us a net new patient number of negative 31. That is so painful to see a practice shrink with the amazing work that you're doing, with the incredible life-changing services that you're providing for them. And so how do we close that back door of the office? Where should your focus be? What processes could you put into place that would actually help a patient stay more active in your practice? Understanding what you actually deliver is life-saving services and quality of life boosting services. So as an industry, this is not who we are. We are not stewards of shrinking practices. I want to invite you into the community of driven docs where we make data-driven decisions. So we could guess what our patients want, but that's really the power of data, being able to ask, receive, and analyze data. And one of the very simple things that you could do in your practice today is actually build what's called a Google form. We're going to put a link in here for you to be able to just go see how to build a simple Google form. And you're going to email this out to a list of these patients who are going inactive. Blue IQ creates that list so you can simply download that, or you can go into your patient management system and export that list. But we want to create an email, a communication where we can give them a link that surveys them why did they decide to leave. And I'm going to give you 5 simple questions that will tell you so much about their patient experience. Number 1 is a simple yes or no question. Did we meet or exceed your expectations for the primary reason why you came in to see us? We want to survey them. Did we actually meet those goals, those expectations? And if we didn't, then obviously we really got to work on our patient experience, or we've got to reframe that patient experience of why we didn't meet their expectations. Question number 2 is on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, what level of value did you receive from our practice? Again, data-driven docs are all about building value for their patients. And the more value you deliver for your patients, the longer the retention you're going to have. Number 3 is just a simple another yes or no question. Are your health concerns now resolved? Again, most people are used to healthcare being something that you plug into when you're sick or you're in crisis. They don't truly understand healthcare. Well, if your patient education systems are working, then you've transitioned them from focusing on symptoms and moved them into focusing on wellness, and they understand that your services are the fundamental cornerstone of that health care. Number 4 is on a scale of 1 to 10. How likely are you to refer us to your friends and family? This is actually your net promoter score, the most fundamental, most important metric of a business, and understanding, are we meeting and exceeding patient expectations? Are your promoters are 8s, 9s, and 10s? And we count the number of responses for 8, 9s, and 10s, and we subtract the ones that reported 1s through 5s. Those are your detractors. So when you take maybe 50 people that gave you 8s, 9s, and 10s, and you had 10 people that gave you 1s through 5s, that would be an 80%. So that gives you an idea on your net promoter score, how well you're doing, meeting and exceeding the expectations of your patients. Question number 5 is another yes or no. Would you be interested in services that would help keep your health optimized? This is just, again, you gathering data. Is this a patient that wants to be reached out to? Can we offer them additional services? When you begin surveying your patient base and getting this kind of information back from them, you now have data to truly shape your messaging. You can create additional services that can meet and exceed their expectations for the very things that they're looking for. Improving the patient experience is so important in the overall success of your practice. Now, if you're loving this kind of content, you're just hungering to double the success of your practice, to build incredible team members, a data-driven approach, this is your channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you turned on notifications so you don't miss a single great episode. And, again, if you love this content, share it with your friends. When YouTube sees you sharing this actually helps us build more impact in this community and truly change the face of our profession. So number 2, the next data point that I want you to really be tracking, because this, I'm telling you guys, this data point revolutionizes practices, because when a patient comes into your practice, they really are relying on your expertise to know the frequency in which they should be returning to your practice. Have you created some bad habits and allowing patients to just dictate when they want to come back? Because if this is true healthcare, you should have a recommendation of should they be coming back once a month, twice a month, once every 6 months? Like, what's your recommendation for the patient to keep an optimal level of health? And then, of course, if there's a new injury or aggravation, they have very clear steps in which they take in order to re-step into your acute level of care. So this metric that we use to track this is what we call reappointment rate or recare rate. It's the number of patients that you saw in a day as they checked out. What percentage of those have a next appointment already in the books? This is what we call building your future production. And this is a key concept in building your services and understanding your adjusted production. And we have a great video that we'll link here for you to go back and really understand how important building your future production is in predicting your hiring and service, how busy you are, if you should be opening up more hours. So go watch that video. But this reappointment rate allows you to build that and reduces the workload on the front desk. There's nothing worse than the front desk coming in at the beginning of the day, and it's the first time they're looking at the schedule for the day, and there's just holes everywhere in your schedule that we could fill with high-value appointments that would help you drive production and growth within the practice. Reappointment rate is powerful, and the average practice, we should be between 88 and 90% reappointment rate. There's going to be those patients that you don't have on a care plan or coming in from out of town or for one reason or another don't have a care plan. But the rest of your patients, they should know clearly when you want to see them next. They should have that appointment set and a high reappointment rate for your patient base. That will remove a tremendous amount of stress from coming into the practice on a regular basis and seeing big holes in the schedule. This will help you build out your future schedule so it's full and productive. So before I go on to data point number 3 that you should be tracking in your practice to gain certainty over data-driven decisions, who here wants my framework for the 4 secrets to beating burnout, how to reignite your purpose, your passion, your profits? This is my framework for $1 million to $2 million practices, and it's yours. If you just comment below, I'm in. Just comment simply, I'm in, or DM me on Facebook at .Cory, I'm in, and I will make sure you get my 4 secrets to beating burnout, reigniting your purpose, passion, and profits. Let's get you to the $1 to $2 million mark fast. All right, step number 3 is so powerful. This is a metric that is talked a lot about in our industry, but I want to break it down even more for you, and that is case acceptance. Case acceptance is where a new patient comes in and they go through your exam and report of findings process. And I hope most of you by now are tracking that conversion between report of findings and start rate, the patients that accepted care and are moving forward. Tracking that really helps you see how strong are my processes in order for a patient to understand their diagnosis, understand the treatment that needs to be in place to heal that diagnosis and all the tissues involved in that, and what are the outcomes? What will life be like on the other side of this condition? That's treatment planning, and we tenaciously measure and really want you in that 75 to 85% accepted rate from that report of findings to the treatment plan. But we need to back up a little bit and really break down each step in this process. And this is going to be slightly different for every practice based upon how you bring new patients in. Your offer, you might have a day 0 where you're doing consultations and screenings that move into a day 1 where that's the full exam, that move into a day 2 that's the report of findings. Well, tracking case acceptance is really just the step of they complete a report of findings and they started care, but really let's look at every step. We want to break it down and see every step of your process. That's what we call a conversion dashboard. A conversion dashboard is starting with a lead that is scheduled. That lead, again, depending on your process, could be coming in for a new patient exam or coming in for that day 0 screening. We want to track what number of leads are scheduled that are now going to actually show up. We track the kept appointment percentage. We track the number of patients that actually completed that screening visit. And then we track the conversion rate. What percentage of those patients went to your next step? And if you do a flow chart of each step of your process, it's really easy for our team to turn that into a beautiful data dashboard. When your team sees that data flow, they can see where is the conversion weakness. Is it a conversion weakness of them showing up to that first appointment? Is it a conversion weakness of them converting to the next step? Is the barrier too much for them to take because of the price point or the time commitment? We can really see that data and begin talking through the processes that are in place. When your team can see that data, they get excited about engaging in the strategy behind it. They will work with you to identify what could we do better, and if we added this or changed that, we would immediately see the change in the data, giving you immediate feedback to know that these new processes are working. I'm telling you, this is the secret of the highest performing practices. These 3 key metrics that if you will measure them, net new patients, reappointment rate, and now this conversion dashboard of your exam and case acceptance, you will become certain in the processes that you're putting and building in place for your practice. This will give confidence in your team to follow you because they will see your constant desire to improve. This is what the data-driven community is all about. And I am here to give you all of this in our wonderful free Facebook group called The Data Driven Practice. If you will just DM me at .Cory, I will send you a link. I will personally invite you into the group, welcome you into this free group, introduce you to the community where you will find other docs who have so much to offer you and support you and lift you to the practice of your dreams. I will look forward to getting your DM at .Cory.